Gwen Graham arrived at the Alpine Manor nursing home in Grand Rapids, Michigan in 1986. She then met Cathy Wood, her supervisor, on the floor. The two developed a close relationship as they eventually fell in love with each other, but their bond took a deadly turn as they decided to kill the patients they looked after to strengthen their love. Cathy would be on the lookout while Gwen smothered defenseless patients to death, as the two would make a game out of it. Nobody was onto them until 1988, when Cathy's ex-husband waited over a year to divulge her secrets. Welcome to History's Biggest Villains. Gwen Graham was born on August 6, 1963 in California, but she grew up in Tyler, Texas. She was quiet and respectful, but she always had a lost look on her face, apparently from her father's sexual advances, which he denied. After moving to Michigan in 1986, she got a job as a nurse's aide at the Alpine Manor nursing home in Grand Rapids. Cathy Wood was born on March 2, 1962. She got married as a teenager, but it ended after 7 years and she became a recluse. She got a job as an aide at Alpine Manor in 1985, as she was soon promoted to supervisor. Cathy met Gwen and the two quickly became friends, but the relationship turned into a lesbian affair. They became obsessed with each other, as by late 1986, the two women pledged their undying love for one another. Gwen brought up the subject of murder in October, but Cathy thought they were just playing. Gwen became the dominant party as she got a kick out of tying Cathy down and choking her until she nearly blacked out. Cathy's love became mixed with a little bit of fear as she learned to keep her complaints to herself. The murder plot started in January 1987, as Gwen's idea of a game was to kill patients whose first initials spelled the word murder. The plan fell through when one of her targets put up so much of a fight that she was forced to let them live. Despite this failed murder attempt, there were no complaints on file, as Cathy and Gwen both received good reports from their supervisors and were well liked on the ward. Gwen then switched the plan to target patients who were too weak to defend themselves. Gwen walked into the room of a woman with Alzheimer's disease, as Cathy was the lookout. Gwen smothered the woman with a washcloth as she was too weak to fight back. The woman's death appeared natural, so an autopsy wasn't performed. Cathy later claimed Gwen murdered the patient to relieve her tension. Each felt that the secret of the murder would prevent the other one from leaving, thus cementing their bond. Sometimes the excitement of murder was so strong that the couple ran to an empty room to have sex, reliving the memories. Gwen kept souvenirs of her deeds, an anklet, a handkerchief, even a set of dentures. The couple would even brag to coworkers about their murders, but they dismissed the comments as sick jokes. At least 3 nurses' aides saw the shelf at the couple's house with items from their victims, but nobody took their consistent tales of murder seriously. By April 1987, the pair had claimed 5 victims so far, but Gwen felt that their arrangement was too one-sided, as she was the one that was always killing the patients. Gwen wanted Cathy to kill someone this time to prove her love, but she refused, so they broke up after this, as Gwen decided to date another woman while she took a new job at a Texas hospital. By August of that year, Cathy had spilled all the details to her ex-husband Ken, who waited 14 months before calling the police. They were initially skeptical of his reports, as almost 40 patients died in the first quarter of 1987, most of them naturally, but 8 cases stood out upon further investigation. That list was soon trimmed to 5, including 60-year-old Marguerite Chambers, 89-year-old Edith Cole, 95-year-old Myrtle Luce, 79-year-old Mae Mason, and 74-year-old Belle Burkhardt. There wasn't any concrete evidence of murder in any of these cases, but the statements from Ken as well as statements from co-workers were strong enough to proceed. Cathy and Gwen were both arrested in December 1988, as Cathy was held without bond and Gwen's was set at $1 million. The staff at Alpine Manor were caught off guard by the arrest, as the nurses' aides now had to reevaluate their decision to not ring the alarm sooner. Cathy would ultimately betray her former girlfriend by testifying against her on the stand. She was found guilty of the lesser charge of second-degree murder and sentenced to 20 to 40 years. While Gwen was found guilty of 5 counts of first-degree murder, along with a count of conspiracy to commit murder, and received life without parole. During Cathy's statement, she spent most of the time assassinating the character of the person she once loved. She would say that aside from the 5 murders, Gwen had tried to suffocate 5 others who survived. She said the confession to her husband was not so much out of guilt, but because Gwen had taken a job at a hospital caring for infants, as Cathy feared Gwen would prey on the infants next. Yes, because you all of a sudden care about people now. When she was killing people at Alpine Manor, and I didn't do anything, that was bad enough. But when she would call me and say how much she wanted to smash a baby, I had to stop her somehow. I knew she was working in the hospital there. She said she wanted to take one of the babies and smash it up against a window. I had to do something. I didn't care about myself anymore. Yeah, right. To this day, Gwen remains incarcerated, but Cathy was denied parole 8 times before she was finally released in October 2019. This happened despite the victims' families being firmly against it. Many believe Cathy could kill again and that she was faking her remorse. She then moved to Fort Hill, South Carolina to reportedly live with her sister, as her parole banned her from working with children and vulnerable adults. However, that ended in June 2021. For now, it seems Cathy's chosen to keep a low profile, given her notoriety. Several of the victims' families sued the owners of Alpine Manor for hiring dangerous and unbalanced employees. Alpine Manor has since gone out of business, but the building now houses a nursing home called Sanctuary at St. Mary's. I think Cathy was really the mastermind of all this. She just let Gwen do her dirty work because Gwen was just so in love with her that she was going to do anything. She made Gwen do all that work, and then when they get caught, now you're going to throw her under the bus. Now you're going to say, oh, she was just so heartless. She just wanted to kill and kill and kill, and I didn't do anything. Like, I didn't stop her from killing anybody, but, she was just going to kill people. And, oh no, the children. She was going to go into children and kill them. Like, you literally just sat there and watched her kill defenseless elderly women. I don't buy none of this. But now she's free, and now Gwen has to spend the rest of her life in jail. But I'm not saying Gwen is absolved of any guilt because you killed these women, but just, I feel like both parties should be liable to the same extent, if we're being honest. The nurses that kill the patients are just a different type of evil. You're there to care for these people, not kill these people. Thank you. I appreciate all the support for the channel. Leave a like, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Be safe, stay on the grind. I'm out. Peace.